Hello, and welcome to our coverage of Love is Blind, Season 8, Episodes 7 through 9. We are back to talk about week 2 of Love is Blind. Thankfully, we didn't have 6 episodes to watch. There were just 3. And there's probably content to cover starting episode 8. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this season, but this is what we're given. So this is what we're talking about. And I'm not here alone, of course. I'm here with my amazing co-host, Mary Kwiatkowski. Mary, how are you?
I'm doing great. You know what? I've decided I'm going to love this season. I'm just going to dive in. But I did take a page out of your book, Aysha. If this show is going to continue to make me think about Christmas in the end of February, I did put on my Merry and Bright sweatshirt. So
love it. Yeah.
We're still rocking it.
See, I wore my Houston shirt as a shout out to a more interesting season of Love is Blind. But we are not, I mean, the dogs are here, but we are also not here by ourselves. We're here with a guy who, sometimes he tells me things, but I'm like, I'll decide if that's the truth. I'm still figuring it out. I don't care what you tell me. I think I'm just gonna, I need to work it out on my own if what you're telling me is fact. Jason Reed. Jason, how are you?
I'm good. I mean, listen, that might actually be a good thing to do with me, because you never know. But guys, let's, enough. Like, we're here for Love is Blind, kind of, but I really want to get to what we actually all came here for, the three of us.
Okay.
Time for Fam Jam.
Yay!
Let's go. Get your, yeah. Yeah, we did it.
That's so much fun.
For those of you that aren't watching the YouTube, go watch the YouTube.
Try to guess who was playing which instrument.
I'm sure someone was like, oh my gosh, did my Apple Music start?
Yeah, what was that?
Exactly. Oh man. Season 8, second drop. Almost as boring as the first. Love's Blind. What are you doing to me? Minnesota. What are you doing?
Could this have been left? Look, okay, Mary, I know you're enjoying it.
I'm having fun.
You're soaking it in.
I've decided to have fun with it.
But could this have been left on the cutting room floor? Could they have shot this season and said, we're actually not going to put that out?
You know but from what I've seen, I think a lot of people are really enjoying it. Like, whether or not they like the people on the show, I think a lot of people are, it's Love is Blind. It's the kind of show you pop on with a glass of wine before going to bed. Like, all my friends are texting me about it. They're like, oh, I've got so many thoughts. So, I think that's how it is.
I think people are more so enjoying talking about it, not so much enjoying what is being presented to them. Like, people are enjoying complaining about it. I had a work group chat where we talk about anything on Netflix. And I said, guys, if you're looking for a great show to like fall asleep to, Love is Blind season 8, highly recommend. And they were like, yes, totally agree.
I think so. There are people out there that are unlike me, that don't like mess, that, are here for the love. I think if you're here for the love, then I think this might be a good season for you. Now, the entertainment value for me is not great because I like love, but I like a little messy journey to get to the love. I don't feel there's no messy journeys here. There's a couple, there's like one or two, but everything else is just, all those segments are, oh my gosh, I love you so much. You're so great. Aren't you great? Aren't I great? We're both great, aren't we? Let's go talk to our parents who also think we're all great. Everything's great. Everyone's great. That's awesome. And to me, that's just not fun.
Downplaying the mess. I think there is mess this season.
There's some. There is one couple that has a big mess, and there's another couple that has a little mess. And then everybody else is sunshine and rainbows.
I think what's interesting, though, is 1 second. All right, I'm back. I think what's interesting is that the thing I always come down to with Love is Blind is that there are so many dating reality shows, whether it's The Bachelor, whether it's all of the things on islands, that are more mess. And the point of the show is high entertainment, low likelihood of successful relationships. And And I do like that this show exists where it does have, I mean, even if you just look at the stats and even one successful relationship a season with, 4 or 5 couples that got together, pretty decent odds. I mean, because this format it's wild that it works for anyone. So the fact that we do get some couples out of it, I do like the fact that the intrigue of just like, ooh, how are their lives going to fit together? How are their families going to get along? Like that's just normal everyday kind of stuff. It's not like, were they here to become a celebrity? Oh, like I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into all the details, but first, make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed wherever you listen to your podcast. You could also find our podcast at weknowrealitytv.com or firstsightpod.com. You can also find us on YouTube on the RHAP YouTube channel where you can see our lovely faces, unlike they do on Love is Blind before they get engaged. And you can enjoy along there. We love to see your comments. We love to see your feedback on what you're liking about the pod. Also, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating and review. And make sure you're specific about Love is Blind. If you're enjoying this coverage, let us know your thoughts and opinions. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive right in and talk about our first couple. So we're gonna start off where we ended last time. We're gonna talk about Taylor and Daniel. So we ended with, oh my gosh, is Daniel creepy? Oh my gosh.
And we were on the podcast last week roasting Daniel. What a creep. What a stalker. He has totally just thrown the concept of Love is Blind in the trash can. Burn this man at the stake. We were all out for Daniel's blood.
I did say, what if this is not true? And you're like, no, it is true. There's no way.
Just to be fair, though, did we even find out if it was or was not true? It seemed like she started scrolling and then gave up.
She made it seem like she just couldn't find his name. So she's like, well.
So, I mean, again, I kind of feel like at this point also, if they met and they like each other, she might have just started thinking, is it even worth, do I even care?
I mean, I would care. I would want the answer to be like, did this man set this up or not? But I guess the fact that she actually does like him is enough for her to be like, you know what? Whatever. He still seems to be a good guy. It's fine. Also, we've had problems differentiating the different gentlemen on this show. Maybe she had the same problem. She was like, you just look like so many other guys on all the Christmas tree Instagram photos. It might not have been you. She might have got to the getaway. So all the other guys was like, oh, actually, I think it was him in the Christmas photo. No, maybe it was him. Actually, I'm not sure. So how can we fault her for?
Well, we also got kind of we got kind of stuck in the whole like Christmas of it all and everything. And when you actually really think about it, it's like, how unlikely is it that two people are just really into Christmas?
I mean, people in Minnesota seem to really like Christmas. I feel like really in every couple, we heard something about Christmas from everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it would have been more unique if they were this way about like Labor Day.
Yeah.
I saw you in front of a tree on Arbor Day. I know that was you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the show really hyped it up based on the fact that the episode is called it, but like they're sitting there waiting to get her phone back because the producer is going to give her phone back so she can swipe through and get the answers she needs. And she asks for the Wi-Fi, and then it's like a little while before anyone comes over, and they both say Bueller at the same time. And at that point, I was kind of like, the show made it seem like she almost heard that and was like, maybe we do just have a lot in common.
actually, on March 26th, I commented that Ferris Bueller's Day Off was my favorite movie. So you never know.
You never know.
But I mean, they did definitely paint it like that was like the moment that kind of saved him in her eyes. Like, okay.
Because when they start all this, she goes, actually, I have an app that tells me who has unfollowed me. And he's like, well, actually, I honestly don't know if I followed you, so my name could be on there. Like it could, like he starts like trying to backtrack. He's like, if my name is on there.
Well, but if he was pretty sure he didn't do it, but like thought maybe I did at some point one day follow her, but I also really love this woman and it seemed like a deal breaker for her, I would be like also saying that.
Yeah. I think what he like the whole point for him that he wanted to get across to her was like, look, whether I followed you or not, I didn't know who you were across the pods. Like, I didn't know these things and have this diabolical plan to match all these answers. Because there was a TikTok of this guy in Minnesota. He's like, y'all, Minnesota. Well, he didn't say y'all because probably don't say y'all in Minnesota. I don't know. But he was like, Minneapolis is small. He said, let me show you how small it is. Me, a random guy, I got approached to be on Love is Blind. I didn't do it, obviously. He was like, but look, this is a picture of me and Sarah at prom. He's like, we went to prom together. Then he said, this is a picture of Molly. Molly is my cousin. Yeah. So he was like, this is literally like, and then he showed like 2 other people that he had over 30 mutual friends with. So it's very likely that Taylor came up and his suggested friends, like people you should follow or whatever. And he may have followed her when they're like, oh, wait, she's good looking. And then maybe unfollowed her because it's like, oh, wait, we didn't exchange any DMs or anything. I don't actually know her. Let's unfollow. But it didn't mean that he knew who she was across the pod. So this whole thing was a non-issue.
What if he was like, you could find him in the unfollow list? He's like, great. The app I used to take me off the apps that show people the follows and unfollows worked. Perfect.
Oh, that's big braining it. I did love the part where she's scrolling, looking through the unfollows, and she's like, wow, I had a lot of unfollows this month or something.
She's like, it's not looking great for me.
No, yeah, it's like very humbling. I did say, just because I thought Jason might bring it up, I have here, how many, I want both of you to guess, how long do you think the show spent on just showing her scrolling through the list of followers? I clocked it. I literally timed it because I was like, after a certain period of time, I was like, this is getting ridiculous. So I went back to see what time it started.
Mary, they got nothing. They need to fill airtime.
Literally just.
I'm gonna say 3 minutes.
Okay, it's not that quite that long, but it's close. Okay. It was 90 seconds.
I was gonna say a minute and a half.
It was 90 seconds of just scrolling, but then immediately after that, she stops scrolling, flips her phone over, and then there's 30 seconds of just them staring at each other. So honestly, it's almost 2 minutes.
But please tell me, why do we need real time her getting the Wi-Fi password? Oh, yes. Is it low?
Because it was for the Bueller thing. It was for the Bueller.
No, but after.
Now the producer's like, all right, now click lobby.
Right.
And what you're gonna do is it's F lowercase b T uppercase R
like, uppercase
uppercase 5, and then you do 2186.
It's like they're at a hotel. Every hotel place is just like guest Wi-Fi or like hotel guest.
It'd be like no, you don't want to join the rewards program. They're still gonna give you free Wi-Fi no matter what. That's a trick to get you to join the rewards program. Oh man, that was good. That was so funny. But yeah, they really kind of just wanted to string this thing out and be like, what is it? Is the suspense like, all right, she's scrolling. When is she going to find it? Scroll. She just cannot find it. It was so long. And
the problem is, I wanted the intrigue of like, if she did find it, then what was going to happen? Because I don't think it's 100% chance that she doesn't still want to be with him.
Well, I think she wouldn't have. I think if she had found his name in there. That's a good question. Would she have been like, yeah, we got to go home. Like, we can't go to Honduras?
No, I think if she would have found, I think she started to feel bad that she had come up with this whole plan that he came up with. And then scrolling, she's realizing, wait, maybe I was wrong. And I think even if she had found it at that point, they have Bueller, like that cured it all.
It is meant to be. We both said Bueller.
Right. So all of that seemed to not matter at all. We just wasted so much time. And that's really the bulk of their conflict. Literally nothing else goes downhill for them.
They are totally conflict free after that.
Yeah. Which is interesting because it was like the big draw of the end of that first drop was that conflict. But I gotta say, you know what? If they are happy, they seem great together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think we went from last week of being like, oh my God, are they going to be together in the first part of this next drop to like, now I think they might be our golden couple guaranteed to get married.
Because they hid them on the previous drop on the 6th episode. Like we said, we didn't see them at all basically for the rest of that, like coming up next time, but they were Yep, full steam ahead. So
yeah, they seem the most solid. I thought the most interesting thing from them, because we had the couples all get together on the getaway, so nothing really transpired for them on the getaway. Getaway was just fine for them. It didn't even get brought up like, oh yeah, girl, I thought he followed me. That wasn't even like, it's just like, let's just act like that never happened.
It was brought up once. It was like Sarah asked him at the like thing where all the couples got together, and he was just like, and she was like, yeah, that must have been like really hard for y'all. And he was like, yeah, it was a tough time, but we got through it. And that was basically it.
Yeah. Right. I thought the most interesting thing for them in this drop was this whole parents meeting. So first they met his parents. All went well. Then they went and met her parents. Her mom's hesitant. You know, she wanted to be at the proposal. She's still trying to come around to the idea. Then there's a knock on the door, and it's his parents.
Well, like, they said that they were coming. They said that they were meeting them there, like before they got there. Like,
I know, but this is his first time meeting her parents.
Yeah, what if it didn't go well? What if it didn't go well? Like, oh, actually, Mom, we're on our way out because she don't like me. So y'all get back in your cars and head out.
Like, the parents meeting this soon was a choice. Like, I feel like that's one, like, rarely have we seen this happen.
Yeah, I don't know if we've almost maybe one or two other times have we seen this happen where the parents even meet at all before the wedding. I've got to say, I think this was great. I think we should do more of this. I think if you've got two sets of families who live close together and are willing to talk on the show, like, I mean, how much weirder would it be if their parents are meeting at the wedding?
But I think to Aysha's point, it should have been Daniel meets her parents in one sitting, and they'd be like, all right, well, maybe in a couple days, your parents, my parents can get together. Not in the first time he's meeting her parents, like 20 minutes later, there's a knock on the door. I'm like, oh, that's my parents, by the way.
He answers the door. He's like, actually, Mom and Dad, it didn't go well.
Yeah, we gotta go. we gotta go now.
Me and her mom got into it.
Yeah. The cops are on their way, so we gotta go.
Right.
But like, it was we had a lot of people, I think more than usual, where family members are a little too involved in their either child, siblings' lives. Where this is one of the mothers where Taylor was warning us, like in the first drop, of like, my mom is not going to be happy. My mom is going to be hard to win over. Mm-hmm. And we kind of saw that. The mom was making it about her. The mom was like, do you think it's really cool that I wasn't there for your engagement, that I wasn't part of it? Like, okay, like, it's not about you, Mom. Like, I was able to do and it really seems like Taylor is very, very like close to her parents. Like, maybe she goes to her parents for like everything.
Yeah, because does she have siblings?
I'm not sure.
I think she might, but I think she's the youngest.
She's probably, yeah. I think that's right.
Baby.
I think that's correct. I think Mom did say she's my baby or she's my youngest or something.
Yeah.
Like
the thing that's always interesting to me is when you have the families where the people are very, very close with their parents, but that their parents don't seem to know anything about the show. Because I feel like if I was really close to I am really close to my parents. If I was going on the show, I would say, hey, I'm going on the show. This is the circumstance. This is what's going to happen. It's like, why are they surprised that they didn't get to hear about the engagement? And they heard about it like a week after.
But Mary, people go on this show without watching the show. So like, I can be surprised that parents don't. If it was me and my kid came to me, was like, I'm going on this show. I'm like, okay, put that on hold. We're going to watch the show first, and then we'll decide if you can go on the show or not. If you're that close to your child, where your child would be like, do you think I should go on it or not? But yeah,
I'm also the kind of like weirdly close with my family where if I'm watching a TV show and I know my parents aren't even into that, I'd be like, hold on, sit down, watch half an episode with me so I can talk to you about it. So they would know. They would never not know what the show was.
Yeah. She seems surprised that her parents hadn't watched it. She's like, so you haven't seen this at all? They're like, no.
They're like, is this Married at First Sight? I don't know.
I love us who?
Right. I thought it was really sweet that like his dad was so like happy for him. He was like, he's like, when you said Daniel is a soft landing for you, and he gets choked up, and it's just so.
Just put this into his mouth, like, hold on. 1 second. I gotta pause.
Did you also notice how his parents were sitting? Like their legs were crossed over each other.
Oh, I did not notice.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Was it weird to you guys? And they almost were using his sister as like a prop. Like
okay. I will say I'm not sure. The way that I was thinking about it was like, okay, that I gained a new perspective. Because for him to say like, oh, this is how my sister sees the world, and I appreciate how she values people's like character and personality, whatever, before in not even knowing how they look. I was like, you know what? That is very interesting that he admires that about her. It was brought up a lot in their sit down.
But the two situations are really nothing alike because the sister's not going in a studio warehouse, dating 32 guys, and she's eventually going to see one of them. No, she's just always blind. I thought it was kind of weird to be that hit too much over the head with the fact that my sister's blind. It's almost like I'm my sister, right? Like, no, you're not.
See, I thought it was more so I was seeing it as more so a way to highlight what he admired about how his sister's like worldview was because of that situation and how he got to have a taste of it.
Okay, I mean, maybe it's just my pessimistic dark black heart. Right. That's fine.
Shocking. Yeah, I think it's obviously, the experiment and the show is a completely different. His sister is not trying to meet someone to marry and marry them in a couple weeks. But the idea of like, well, of course people could fall in love having not seen each other because that's how my sister sees everyone. So I like that. I liked that part. I actually really liked a lot of what his parents were saying about just in general. They were kind of saying like, at this point, they're adults. We can guide them, we can lead them, but it's not our lives anymore. I feel like that was directly at her mom, like,
yeah,
hey, it's up to them now.
Yeah, she's an adult. She can make her own decisions, right? Taylor's mom, right? This is if they were warned beforehand.
Right.
Where did you guys come in for backup? And because you guys are around the same age, you could probably talk to them a little bit more.
But it all ends well. I mean, he asks her parents for their permission or I don't even know if he used the word permission, but basically
for their blessing.
Like, for their blessing to continue in the process and everything, and they say yes. So
yeah, I mean, we always get these warnings of like, oh, my mom, she's gonna be real tough. It's gonna be hard to win her over, and he wins her over from a show aspect in 5 minutes. He wins her over.
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, they did say like I guess it was both sets of parents were like, divorce is not an option for us, just so y'all are aware.
I really hate that sentiment because divorce is an option and divorce should be an option if there are things that aren't working out in a marriage. It almost feels like no matter what, even if there is like terrible things going on, you can't get divorced. That's what that feels like to me by them saying that.
And it does highlight the differences in our generations. Like that's why a lot of people in like Gen what is it? X and older, like in baby boomers, stay together a lot longer, even if they're not happy. Whereas like younger generations are like, if I'm not happy, I don't have to stay in this.
Or if they cheat on me, like that for me is
I'm hurt and I'm gone. Yeah,
I'm sure it's someone like their parents would be like, well, if he or she cheats on you, you just have to work it out. You have to forgive and forget, blah blah blah. Yeah, even if they cheat on me 5 different times after we already talked about it 5 different times, you still gotta stay together. Divorce is not an option.
Yeah, I would hope that the sentiment is more like, let's not go into a marriage feeling like, oh, well, if it gets hard, or if I just sort of don't find you attractive anymore, then we'll just get divorced. It'll be fine. But I mean, how often does that actually happen? I feel like there's usually more to that story. So
yeah, I definitely get the vibe from. I get the vibe from them. They're not in a why not situation. They do genuinely seem like they are developing feelings for each other, enjoy each other's company, like are just happier with each other. I think Daniel's confidence completely made me forget that he's quote unquote short.
Yeah,
as he says.
And I think her attitude towards him helps him with that because they don't bring it up a lot. They don't talk about the fact he's short a lot. Like she doesn't wear heels. Yeah, she doesn't wear heels around him, so he doesn't feel insecure. I think that's partly from her, making his confidence up.
I think it's kind of just highlighting that like Daniel is like a solid guy, like easygoing. Like what else were they going to say about him in the pods to make him seem worth following?
For sure.
We got to find something about him.
Yeah, when his parents were like, "Yeah, we're gonna get him for Christmas," joking, her mom looked like she's about to get up out of her seat. Like, "What you say?" Like, no, they don't need me for Christmas.
I know.
But yeah, they're fine.
They are more than okay. So let's move on. Or actually, since the next drop Will the next drop be the weddings, or just we might get one wedding?
We'll get one wedding at the end with a cliffhanger, probably.
Okay, then
And
let's
then 12
predict.
will be our weddings. Yeah.
Let's predict now. Do you guys think that they will be get married?
Mary?
Yeah, 100%.
Me too.
I think unless we get the like complete 180 where it's like somehow we find out that he's been lying this whole time.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
They go visit his apartment. She opens the closet. It's a huge whiteboard of string and all these
He's got a murder
Instagram
board.
posts.
Yeah, let's hope not.
She looks at his phone. She finds a burner Instagram account. Like, this is the Instagram account that he was following me on. Damn it.
That one, he is holding a drink.
Oh man. But yeah, I think they're fine. They're gonna get married.
Same. All right, let's move on to a couple that really didn't give us much intrigue, but that's the reason I'm kind of on them. Let's talk about Virginia and Devin.
Yeah, I mean, we get to the getaway, and I think, you know, they get massages, they take walks, they talk about how much their families will love each other, they love each other. We look at his tattoos. Now, I will say, Virginia, this like, oh my god, do you watch cartoons? Excuse me. I am known to watch a cartoon or two. Like, that does not mean anything about anyone. You can't say something about people.
They were also slandering video games. So like,
yeah,
it's like, oh, I would hope you don't play video games. I'm sorry. What is wrong with playing video games?
I watched it 3 times because I couldn't tell if he said, I would hope you don't, or oh, I don't, and I couldn't tell.
I think he said hope you don't.
He said, I would hope you don't.
Meanwhile, Aisha's got a PS5 in every room of her house. So
just one room, okay?
Oh, sure, right.
No, I was like, wait, why are we bonding over this? At least they have it in common. But I was just like, whoa, chill on video games. They're fun.
It just really feels like they both have this really kind of traditional sense of what they want marriage and life to be and who they want to be with.
What a quote unquote adult should be.
Yes.
That's what I hate too. When people are like, when I'm like, oh my gosh, have you seen Zootopia? And they're like, oh, you like cartoon movies? I'm like, animated films. Okay.
Animated features. Thank you very much.
Right. I own all the Toy Stories because I love that movie.
They were up for Oscars, you know. Right. Oscar nominated films, these cartoons, as you call them.
Right. Jeez. So yeah, I felt like I was catching strays in this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
But I did think it was interesting when they talked about R&B music that Devin pointed out, like, okay, we both may like R&B, but I think we like different R&B because she's older
by like 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, it's really like once you get into the late 20s, early 30s, I mean,
I feel like it's pretty much the same. Like, I mean, we haven't got to it yet, but when they talk to his family, I know, I was that his mom? Somebody was like, oh, well, you're older, so how do you feel about kids? I'm like, he's 29. If he's 29 and wants kids, but thinks that that's like needs to be 10 years away, it's fine. I don't need to go on a fertility rant again. You know what?
Yeah, what's getting me with them is we're not seeing what makes them so in love with each other. Like the things that they're saying, the feelings that they are expressing, we're not getting the actions to back it up. Like we don't see the why. We don't see, like, I personally, I don't know if it's just kind of being on edge about it, but just the way that Virginia, like just the way she expresses herself, I don't see her, like, it doesn't seem like she's that into him.
Yeah.
Unless she just has a wall up and it's like, oh, I just don't outwardly express like my vulnerable feelings like that.
And I thought maybe we'd come back around to the fact that in the pods, she didn't really open up much to him. I thought maybe we were going to get something about that. Maybe she would, once they meet, feel more comfortable, and actually she would start to open up. But we really got nothing of actual substance. And I mean, Asia, what you're saying about how you're not really understanding why. You're not understanding the why. I don't really understand the why of a lot of these people. So that's what I'm having trouble grasping. I hear a lot of pretty words of like, you're so great. You say the greatest things. You say the best things. But like, I'm not hearing what they like about them. Each person has like in their character. You know what I mean?
I thought their conversation about finances was very interesting because I felt like he was I don't know. It felt like he was starting to show just kind of like he was kind of peeling back I'm trying to just present my best self to you, and we're getting more of like how the real him, basically. Because it's still like, oh, I'm trying to impress you, whatever. But when she brings up how she wants to be like, financially secure, she wants to, be a millionaire. She wants to achieve all of these things. And she's like, she brings up the prenup, and she's like, it's not like I'm just going to be a millionaire and leave you with all this debt. He's like, well, no. I have dreams too.
Yeah, it felt like he was he was getting a little insecure a little bit, because when she starts mentioning these things about the prenup, and he mentions, I got a little bit of debt. Like, I don't got a lot. I got some student loans. I got some, but it's not a lot. And then he starts talking.
I got a little over here, a little over there.
Yeah, it's not a bunch. And he starts talking about his future aspirations, right? He's like, well, at some point I'll probably be like the CEO of the company I work for, and maybe I'm an assistant coach now, but I'll probably be like an actual coach at some point. I feel like he was trying to
actual head coach. Head coach. An assistant coach is still an actual coach.
Did I say actual coach? I meant head coach. Sorry. There's all assistant coaches out there that I offended.
I'm not gonna be a pretend coach anymore.
I should get paid for my time. But it felt like he was almost rushing to catch up to her, to make sure that she knows, hey, I'm gonna get there. Like, I'm not at your level, but I'm gonna get there soon. I'm gonna get there fast.
I was getting
insecurity creeping in a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert on prenups, but I feel like maybe they edit this out, or they can't say this, but I feel like I would also just be like, hey, I'm gonna get a prenup because we've known each other for 3 weeks. We're on a show. It has nothing, like, I might not get a prenup with you had this not been the way we met. I don't know that I would always want a prenup. And I could be wrong. She could also just have always wanted a prenup. That's fine too.
Well, I mean, she talks about it as if like she would marry ever would have she would have needed a prenup.
And I think that's like also really a lot more normal. It's not even so much of because she kept saying like in this day and age, it's not even a this day and age thing. It's when you're in your early 20s and you both don't really have a ton of money, you're new in your careers, you may or may not have debt. Like, it makes a lot more sense when people are just like, yeah, we combine everything, whatever. When you have been living for 34 years of your life, you've been working for, 10, 15 years, building this nest egg, and then you meet someone on a show for 3 weeks, or even if you didn't, if you just meet someone and then have a pretty expedited situation, I also feel like, it makes sense. I completely get why she was saying that. I was surprised that he and his family were surprised by the concept of a prenup in this scenario.
It's interesting because I don't think it's as commonplace as Virginia thinks it is.
Yes.
Virginia seems to think it's like, why wouldn't anyone do that? But I just don't feel like most people running around getting prenups before marriage.
I don't think most people are, but I also think most people are dating for 3-4 plus years before they're married, and so they know the person, and
but I think we see it in a lot of reality shows. Whenever someone mentions the word prenup, everybody's like, oh, so you don't trust me?
Divorce?
Yeah, you're trying to say that you don't trust me to not take your money or something, or blah blah blah. But I think Virginia's looking at it as, in a mature way of like, listen, like if the worst happens, you get what you came in with, I get what I came in with, and if we got anything together, we split that. It's I think when people look at prenups and they say, I'm asking you for a prenup, that means I don't want you to take my money. But a prenup is also kind of like an arrangement. You can put in the prenup whatever you want to put in it. Like,
right. They could put in a prenup and say, and then we might choose to change this after a couple years or something.
Or you get a certain amount of money if we divorce, or this and that. There's a lot riding in a prenup. It doesn't just mean you don't get to take my money if we divorce. That's not what a prenup is.
Right. And I think she did a good job explaining that to him, because he was initially very hesitant. Like, he was not on board with that by any means. Because he was like, this is, I've never heard this. This is something I will have to think about. But to explain it the way that she did helped a lot, because he even used that exact verbiage when he explained it to his family. So I was like, okay, he gets he's picking up what she's putting down.
But the thing that's interesting is that he was like, oh, the prenup, that seems surprising. And having separate accounts, I don't know how I feel about that. And yet he was saying, do we want one person to do the mortgage and the other person to do utilities? That seems more odd to me. What kind of arrangement is that?
Yeah, because it's
doesn't
like
seem very even.
Because then that still feels like your money, my money type
Right.
of thing.
So I was like, I guess I was surprised at that, but it could be the way that the conversation was edited. Maybe
I mean, everyone's
saying, like,
situation. Yeah, everyone's situation is different in
Mhm.
different households, But yeah, I felt like he was. I feel like he was okay. He was at a certain point. He was like, yeah, like that prenup, fine, whatever. And then his family, he's more defending, like, well, listen, like I'm gonna make sure that we look at it before we sign it, and I'm not gonna sign anything I'm not gonna look at, but I'm gonna tell her at every point we're not gonna ever have to divorce, so this is gonna be fine. I like the parents a lot when they visit the parents. Like I like that the parents were very open.
Yeah.
I liked Willie, his dad, who basically just said, if you're happy, I'm happy. Like the mom is doing this whole spiel of
Mom
like
did all the talking.
And she's like, God comes first in this house, and blah 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 blah. And then the Devin looks like, Dad, what do you think? He's like, oh, you're happy, I'm happy. I mean, I'm definitely a Willie in this situation. Like, like you're happy, I'm good. Like I don't got much to say. Like your mother could take care of all that. Like
did y'all peep how she said to the family, like, oh, I see us being more 50-50, and then right on the heels of that he said, well, no, not so much 50-50.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, y'all, that's why it's so dangerous talking about these things. I mean, and I still feel this way too about Daniel and Taylor having their parents meet so soon, is like there's still so much they have to discuss with each other before bringing those people in. So you're like putting yourself at risk of, your parents having judgment or your siblings having judgment on something that y'all haven't even squared away yourselves. But that's the nature of this, because everything is happening so fast.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget the biggest member of this family, Pico the family pig.
Okay, you know what? I don't know why he was like, oh no, this is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
If someone brought me over and they were like, and by the way, we have a family pig, I'm like, great, I'm so down. Let me see all the pictures. I want to take a picture with the pig. I want to hang out with the pig.
It feels like Devin wants nothing to do with the pig, because even
Pig
Virginia was like, this is the member of the family. And the mom was like, no. Like, not to him.
Don't get him started.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe he has some past trauma with this pig, but I loved Pico the pig.
Right. Maybe Pico ate his homework at one point, and
yeah,
he's still mad about it. His sister was just only a little bit nervous about the prenup, which that's her being protective, because we have, as a society, just automatically associated prenup with divorce, but more of just like financial protection, because you never know what can happen in the future.
Yeah.
And again, let's not pretend that they're not in a weird scenario.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah.
Exactly.
Like for real, like I know you, I love you. But let's be real, I don't know you.
I actually don't know you though.
So that was pretty much it that we got for Virginia and Devin. We did get to see that they do make it to the altar, at least. Didn't we see her in a wedding dress? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to be the first wedding?
It's still very much on the fence. I could see them being in the middle somewhere. What do y'all think? I'm gonna go out on a limb and just say they don't get married.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'll say they do. I don't know. They've really presented us much of nothing, so I will say they get married.
Yeah, I think they will get married. I would not be the most shocked in the world if they got married and then we found out at the reunion that they like got married, but they're still living separately. They're taking it slow, like that kind of thing. We've seen that before. They sort of, I'm getting married and then I'm going to go date. Basically.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see like an epiphany. Like I do think if they don't get married, I think it'll be her decision, and it'll be something like, I just couldn't get there yet. Like I have feelings for him, but I just couldn't see myself getting married to him.
But do you think they'd still be together by reunion though?
Oh, I don't know. I could see him being the type of person that's like, well, if you don't want to marry me, then we shouldn't be together.
I feel like we have seen so many times when it's like, if they don't say yes at the altar, I don't know if it's ever happened where the couple eventually does get together. Like they'll date for a little while later. I feel like when the pressure is off, then people are like, eh.
Because they say it all the time. They're like, it's just not yes for right now, but we can after we get out of here, we can see.
It seems like it's actually just a no.
Yeah, I mean they did try to prank us again in the coming up on where Devin's talking to Brittany and he says oh, it's so easy. No, he's talking about Virginia. Like Nothing about that. Oh,
or even just like, oh, we would be such good friends. I'm so glad that we're just friends.
Yeah, because we did get like in the TikTok world on other podcasts, we found out that Brittany did get engaged. When she decided not to be with Devin, her main option at that point was Mo, who you may have seen lingering in the background. A lot of the final episodes of the first drop, and they did get engaged, and then they shortly after broke off the engagement.
And I mean, that's so interesting because both Mo and Brittany are African American. So you would think in order to maybe try and break up some of the give us a little more diversity, they would have featured Brittany and Mo, but they still decided to like, nah, we'll stick with what we got.
Yeah. I mean, because I think it's the I want to give them credit. Reality. It's Story Time with Ricky, I think, is on TikTok. It's her podcast that released this, but it was a situation where Britt was like, we don't have to go on the getaway. Let's just continue to get to know each other after like they got engaged, and then found out that he had never dated a Black woman, and then so she was like, whoa. And yeah,
I didn't know all that.
It evolved from there, and then they broke it off. Yeah,
interesting. Is there a reality show more associated with TikTok now than Love Is Blind? I feel like
it's like a direct extension now.
Yeah,
I don't know, because I have seen. I mean, there's definitely a lot of the fact that there is talk about TikToks on Love Is Blind, like on the show while it's happening, is something. But I don't know. My feed right now is still just all people explaining who Boston Rob is / was when he was younger. So that's the life I'm living.
But that just seems to be the source of all the information we get on these seasons. Like I think the Trevor stuff a couple seasons ago, the Jeremy stuff also came out on TikTok a couple seasons ago, where it was like all the info was getting dropped on TikTok.
Yeah, no one's saying we found out on Instagram.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Instagram Reels, get with it. Okay. Gosh.
Yeah, it just kind of seemed to, and now, like we said, it's incepted the show where they're actually referencing TikTok on the show.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our third couple, who did give us a little bit more intrigue than they gave us the first time. So much so that I was shocked by the news we learned about her. So Joey and Monica, I was appalled that she was 5'10". I'm like, when we met her last drop, I thought she was just like short and like just tiny. I don't know where I got that impression.
That's so interesting. She gives me very tall girl energy.
Now,
like even when she was in the pods. No, I mean I don't think I had met it, but I was noting when they met that I was like, sort of like Ben and Sarah, like they're both pretty tall.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like, oh, she's pretty tall too. Yeah.
I don't know why. I guess we just didn't spend enough time on that.
No, we didn't talk about that much.
Yeah, I was so confused. I was like, and that just made me see her in a whole new light all of a sudden.
She's got that tall girl energy now.
Right.
But these two seem to just continue to kind of carry on as if they are two kids that have just drunk a 2-liter of Mountain Dew. They're just so high energy. They're just all sugared up and running around bouncing off the walls.
Did y'all bring your laundry to kind of put together while we talk about Monica's sister?
No, but I did bring my sock for the communal sock bin.
Oh, okay,
let's hold on. Let's talk about the sock bin thing for a second. Do they not have different size feet in their family?
Well, you would like if you were in a family with, let's say, all women were in the family. It's a mom and some daughters. That would make sense.
Appear to be the sock bin, though.
Well, the sock
bin was it just like her mom, and her sister or something?
No, I think it was everyone. Like,
no, it was the family.
We met a dad. Yeah, dad was there. So I guess he has to pick through all the girl socks and find his boy socks to get out of the bin. And also the bin, I thought the bin was going to be like
in the hallway?
Something like a special bin. This literally is just like a laundry basket.
No, it's just a laundry basket.
Throw the sock bin. I thought it would be like a decorator or something. It's a sock bin, but no, just like a basket on the floor in a closet. It's like, okay.
I'll be the first to say that there are things that I thought were totally normal in my family that people are like, no, that's so weird, or that's so interesting, that are like along this type of line. Like, we don't share socks. Although, like, if I'm at my sister's house and like my feet get cold, I'm gonna go take a pair of her socks.
Yeah, but that makes sense. But your dad can't do that because your dad probably has bigger feet than you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think I bought socks recently, and it was like spans from size 4 to 10.
Yeah,
So
my wife and daughter can share socks. I cannot share their socks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just we're all very particular about our socks. Plus, like we all wear running socks, and they're like more fitted, and so they're like I'm not gonna wear my dad's running socks. I don't know. Anyway, it's a whole
yeah, it's
thing
just
I don't get.
Yes, same. I mean, I've just never thought of socks being something to share.
And do they do all their laundry together?
Yeah, like, see, this is also confusing. And does she still live at home with her family? Is that why?
She apparently does. She mentioned she has her
apartment.
Oh no, we
knew this. We knew this because this is the one where she like.
Oh, she takes care of her grandmother.
Yeah, she takes care of her grandmother. So yeah, she has moved back home for that. I do remember that.
Yes. But does mom do all the laundry? And she just like, I don't feel like dividing the socks. I'll just put all the socks in a bin.
I don't know.
Do they share shirts too? Like, what is this? Is like, do they have a communal shirt bin? I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, even of my own sock drawer, I have like my favorite socks. So how are you not just continually reaching for the socks you always go for, you know?
Yeah, you'd be mad if someone else is wearing your favorite socks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they wear out, you know? Anyway, but we referenced it at the beginning of the podcast. I have never felt more seen than when they started doing the family jam. Look, that's not a thing that my family would ever do on a TV show or if I was dating someone. However, that's so real that I was like, yeah, 100% this. I mean, like when we were kids, like my grandma would have like a jam box like that. It was like all the same type of thing. It's like, oh, the little frog that you like make the little noise, and a little wind chime and a little triangle, and everyone grabs one and then like they play the guitar. But like when you're kids, but like now, I don't know. I could see it happening. I could see my family doing it because they wanted to be goofy on TV and they were like, this is funny. Let's embarrass him. Like, let's, you know.
My family does, because we all are, I mean, we have like, we've all like, we're musically inclined in some way.
We're so musically talented is what Aysha's saying. Me and my family, we're just like prodigies at all the instruments. So
no, like me, my brother, and my dad all play an instrument, and my mom sings. And so we all will like harmonize or do like the row your boat situation.
Just randomly as you're like chilling.
Right. No, us four though.
Does someone start it? Does someone go like, and then you know that's the time everyone starts like, Asia starting something. Asia started it. Everybody do the row your boat. Let's go. Like as you just all chilling watching TV, you're like you know what, I'm about to start it off.
Silent Night is one of our favorites.
So someone just starts it, and everybody else joins in.
We just go.
Why are we talking about Christmas again?
Because it's all our favorite holiday.
We love Christmas.
We can't escape it. Okay.
But yeah, we don't do it in front of people.
Are still up outside, so I'll take those down at some point.
As you say, you don't do it in front of people. Like it's just for family. It's not for it's not for company.
It's a very intimate thing. So.
Asia starts silent. Mom goes, we don't do that in front of company.
Right. Exactly.
That's family only.
Right. But the person with the main character energy of her family here is her sister, Nicole.
Yeah.
Nicole must own a magazine company because she got issues. Hey.
I thought it was rather interesting that we learn, which is very odd that we learn this publicly, but Nicole's boyfriend was first interested in Monica, and then Monica said, "Oh, I think you would like my sister instead," and that's how they ended up together.
So I don't think it's weird to like meet someone on a dating app that you don't know, and you meet them in person. You go, "Yeah, I'm not really feeling you, but you'd be great with my friend or my someone else or whatever."
I kind of think that's super weird.
I don't think I feel like it's not that much different from like going to an event. You meet someone, you're talking, and then you're like, actually, you know what? I really think you'd be great with my friend.
That's an event. If you're on a dating app,
I don't know.
We liked the way we each looked. Yeah. That's why we matched.
Yeah, my sister looks pretty similar. So
but that means you also think he's attractive.
No, because we could think different. We could think different people are attractive.
But that guy, thinks you're attractive. That to me is weird to me. This guy that thinks I'm attractive is now I'm passing him off to my sister, and now this guy that is dating my sister probably wishes he could actually be with me.
I think the main thing is I'm going off more of like you see someone maybe you're into them, maybe you're not. You don't know because you don't really know them yet. You meet them in person. You go, actually, in person, I'm not actually as attracted to you, but you're very much my sister's type. Like, I don't think that that's that weird.
Oh, I think
that was her choice. That has nothing to do with how he was initially attracted to her. Right. And now that, like, I feel like there's this internal jealousy that's just sitting with Nicole.
Well, apparently, based on how this has gone. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, how have you never approved of any of her significant others? Ever.
And and they made it worse because Joey's sitting there being like, "Oh, so you're just waiting around for Monica, huh?" They're like, yeah, that's so funny. That's all I'm here for." And meanwhile, Nicole's sitting in the corner like
no, that did not go over well with Nicole. But I do feel like, considering they brought this up in front of him, I was like, I don't know how else Joey was supposed to handle that. Like, I mean, probably not saying that, but like being jokey about it is probably better than being like, "Well, that's." Well,
he didn't know that is a sore spot for Nicole. Obviously.
Yeah, but. Yeah, so Nicole also clearly, as the older sister, is a little bit like, why are you getting married first? This is my job.
Yes, she's dark. Like, what did she say? She's 5 years older, so she should be getting married first.
It's like, well, great, you've had 5 years. What have you been doing these last 5 years?
I mean, listen, I passed you someone that should be marrying you by now, but he hasn't done it yet. That's not my fault. That's not my fault.
His profile said that he was looking to get married.
But listen, I am 6 years older than my brother. If he got married before me, I'm not. The first thing I'm doing is not saying, but I'm 6 years older. I thought I would get married first. I would be happy for him.
But that's not even the most audacity that's been happening here, because like, they were having a great time in the house. He's jamming out with the family, with the fam jam. He's all about it. He's having fun with the sock communal drawer. Everyone seems to be having a great time. Nicole drags her sister outside, just like, it's not going to work, right?
It's like, but his personality match yours?
He's like, he's not your type. You want a guy who's 6'5", an Italian model or something? I was
Who doesn't?
That's what she said. She was like, well, yeah, but that's like, okay.
Yeah, it was so obviously just very transparently like, if I can't be happy, you can't be happy. You can't be happy before me. You can't be married before I am. It was so messed up.
And then obviously he peeped that, and
the way he read that was so perfect. He's like,
he's
like, there's some jealousy going on here. I'm like, oh yes, you got it.
What I did like is that he was like, I can tell she doesn't like me, but I don't think I did anything wrong, so I'm not gonna like feel bad about her not liking me. Like, that seems like her issue to figure out. Kind of.
He's like, that's.
And I agree. It's like, it is an issue that the sister doesn't like him. That's an issue in their relationship, but it's not really his issue.
Well, and I was unsure in the moment how Monica was feeling about it. Was Monica like, well, you're gonna have to get my sister to like you if I'm gonna marry you, or was it like well, if she doesn't like you, that's her problem. I'm still going to marry you if she doesn't. Like
it seemed to me more like, well, I think y'all need to talk, and hopefully you can figure this out, because I don't want this stress.
Yeah, but it didn't seem it was going to be an impediment to the marriage, unlike some people where the sister needs to like you in order to actually get married. That is a hurdle we need to clear before we can get married.
Did you say David? What?
Or so far.
Yeah. I thought you said a name. Because he even said, like, some people, like, if your sister is saying shouldn't be with me, you listen to that. And so, but she didn't really like deny that, but I think she also can see how absurd her sister is being. Yes. So it's just kind of, I don't know if we're going to revisit this, or we're just going to act like, oh, her sister's opinion doesn't matter. Monica's moving ahead with what she wants to do.
And the weird thing about this circumstance is, at least from what we've seen, like, almost all the other couples, if you had a sister or a sibling who came in and be like, hey, I'm a little concerned about the prenup or whatever, that's a conversation you need to have, whatever. Or in past ones, like, I'm a little concerned about the fact that they have tons of debt, or they don't seem to treat you well, or there's real things. With her, it was just sort of like, she never actually said anything about him that she didn't like. She tried to put it on Monica and be like, yeah, but you're not really into him, right? She's like, no, I am. Yeah, but like, I could never picture you with a guy like that. And she's like, well, I don't really have a type. He seems fine.
This is like a guy like what? A really fun
guy with long hair?
Theory guy? Like, I don't know. This sister's like, he just seems like a great actor. Like,
right.
That look, there are a lot of people on this show who I think could be great actors. What am I trying to say? If he wants to do community theater, I'm not saying he can't act. I'm saying that he's not jumping out at me as a person who's like came here for fame and is acting his personality.
He just seems like a really goofy, gregarious guy.
It's like, it's as if Nicole was sitting in the corner just observing him. It's like, he seems a little too comfortable. What's going on here? Why is he laughing with us?
Something's
up.
He should be more nervous.
Right. He should be more weirded out by the sock bin.
He should be way more scared of me than he is.
Yeah. That should have ran him off. It is interesting though. And the next time on, we get Monica saying she thinks she's more into this than him, which I wonder, like, okay, is it starting to are things starting to level off? You know, you have this honeymoon period. I mean, they shouldn't be leveling off after 3 weeks, but you're in this honeymoon period and now things are kind of normalizing. Is she not seeing him as excited about this as he was? So don't know if that'll be a thing.
I also liked how he kind of opened up about his OCD and how that has affected him and how he's kind of learned to manage it. That was really a great insight into that type of world.
Yeah. And that was a really good conversation, because I think it, him being so open and transparent about it, really helped her. Okay, he's being vulnerable with me about this. The other thing is which we don't have to get into the why this conversation even occurred of it all until we get to the couple it pertains to. But when Monica is talking to David at the group outing, she does say that they've hung out.
Confirmed coitus.
AKA messed around. AKA bumped uglies.
AKA had sex.
I don't.
Wow. If you want to get vulgar about it,
I've
sure.
never heard someone say hung out though. That's a new one.
I mean, listen, it's Dave here asking her. She doesn't want to be like,
that's the problem.
I don't want to get too involved with you, person I barely know.
Someone else's husband.
Yeah, we've hung out, I guess, if you want to say it like that. I don't want to get too personal with you.
Right.
You're weird, Dave.
They have consummated their relationship, it seems.
I mean, hung out could mean a lot. Never know.
I don't know.
She did a little wink and a little nod. She was like, we hung out. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. I would like to take a brief pause on the couples and talk about that soundtrack through these episodes.
You know all the money that Netflix has charged y'all now, these price increases.
This is directly what it's going to. It's directly going to the fact that they can play Lovely Day on.
Yes, we get Lovely Day. We get Into You by Ariana Grande. I love that song, and I was jazzed about it. We got Holy by Justin Bieber. We didn't get to Chance the Rapper's part, but that's okay. We got All My Life by Casey and JoJo. What?
Asia has written down all these songs. She's gonna put it in a playlist and start playing it all night. Listen, I do miss the songs that Mary was describing last drop of
we've had a couple, but not many.
Yeah, just literally describing what's going on in the scene. I miss those. We get those all the time.
Hate it when your older sister's protective. The older sister might be jealous. What are we gonna do?
All right, Mary, say it for the fam jam. Say it for the fam jam.
But then there's the other one about the older sister. Don't you hate it when you're in love with your older sister
and you just want to date your older sister? Because your group chat would be okay with that.
Yeah. All facts. Oh gosh. Okay, let's move on. Oh wait, do we think Joey and Monica will get married?
Problem is, do I already have 2 yeses?
Listen, this could be our most successful season.
I can't have more than 3. I can't have more than 3 yeses. So hold on, let me just analyze. Yeah, this is my last yes. This is it.
This could be our most successful season. This could be our most boring and most successful season.
Jason hates love.
No, I'm fine with love. Okay?
he's mid on
love.
Yeah, I think they'll get married. I think they're gonna say yes.
Yeah,
I do too. I think they will get married. I couldn't see why not. If they don't, that'll be kind of a surprise.
Spoilers, at least in terms of me, the buck might stop with them for me though. We'll see. I'm on the fence.
Okay. Let's move on to our second to last couple. We have two people who we were kind of surprised they got engaged in the first place, but Ben and Sarah, these two are just rainbows and sunshine all
Until
the
the
way. Yeah, until the last scene. Even so much to her saying it's a good day to have a good day. Oh, that's how entertaining this couple is. That's the best we can do.
They are literally in the mirror. It's like, you know what? Whenever we pass the mirror, I'm gonna stop and pose. I'm gonna stop and pose in the mirror. Every time you pass one, I'm like, oh,
so cute.
gross.
We're gonna spill water and be like, oh, I'm so clumsy. This just is what I do. It's such a Ben thing to do.
And that was their whole getaway. That's what happened. Nothing.
I have nothing else written down except for that.
He washes his hair every other week. We did learn that.
Did they say they had sex?
I think the only confirmation that we got was with Joey and Monica. I don't remember specifically writing anything down for them though.
I have it written down that
it said that they were pretty quick.
Yeah,
so I don't.
Oh, maybe that's.
Yeah. So they could be there. So they're just kind of like riding high right now. But I think
look at us being Dave asking about all the sex questions.
Yeah. Oh, we have
to do it or not.
Okay, so at least from what we saw when they get back home, do y'all have anything else from the retreat? That was all I had.
No, he wrote her a letter in her makeup bag at 2 a.m. I said,
that weird.
Was
yeah.
That guy's weird.
Was weird. I thought that was cute.
I don't know. I don't know what it is about these guys, but I feel like there might be guys that like would feature on a Lifetime program later. Like these guys.
Well,
are perfect.
when we find the murder board in Daniel's closet, yeah,
it's like they're the perfect spouse that has bodies in the basement freezer or something like that. They just seem too cheery.
Like, that's the problem, though, in today's dating culture. Is like these guys know what it is that's going to make these girls like, oh, that's so sweet. And so it's kind of hard to like decipher like, oh, is this a genuine act or is this because he's doing what he thinks he should be doing?
It all just seems a little too saccharine sweet to me. I feel like there's some evil behind those cheery smiles.
Well, I'll say when it comes to them, we were pretty surprised that they got together based on the things we found out. I don't know if it was editing in the first drop to make us feel that way or editing in this drop, and there might be more on the next time on, but at least from meeting his group of friends that they went out to, I was watching that and I was like, oh, this is making me feel better. He's got LGBTQ friends. He's got friends who are not particularly religious, at least from what we saw. Sorry, Aysha.
Aysha, you have your hand raised?
This is my big conspiracy of this entire drop.
Give me the tea.
Did he hand select these group of quote unquote friends? Because I was like, am I absurd? Like, who have I become? And I looked up on TikTok.
You become me, Aysha. You become me.
I am so jaded by Jason. And I looked it up, and there are plenty of people talking about this, thinking like, how convenient that he has a friend who's agnostic, a friend who has a girlfriend who has a girlfriend. And then it was like, wait, what? So that wasn't the first thing that came to your mind when she brings up her sister?
No, it wasn't the first thing that came to my mind. What did come to my mind was, okay, maybe he has a lot of friends, and he definitely hand-selected these ones. I don't think these are his best friends, but he clearly has some, at least, acquaintances. So
this is the diversity squad of my friends group.
Right. This is JV or like 7th grade B team. Like,
it's completely possible, but
because hear me out. When she tells him about her sister and how her sister is gay, why wouldn't his first like defense be like, oh, I'm totally fine with the LGBTQ community. One of my best friends is gay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know which one is the edit. Like, for all we know, he did say that, and they cut that out because they wanted to put suspense in. Like, I don't know. I legitimately don't know.
It felt like they were...
It's giving. I can't be racist. I have black friends. That's what it's
right. Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
I felt like it was even to the point where his agnostic friend was like, yeah, so I've never been to a church service. And then his other friend goes, you haven't? I didn't know that about you. I said, are they meeting for the first time?
As a reading a script on their arms, like, you haven't? Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
But this hold on. This could be an industry because I feel like we've all heard about the whole like buying bridesmaids, like the people who are professional bridesmaids, and you like get those or professional maids of honor or whatever it is. These shows like Love is Blind, like I think people should be doing this not just for their friends but their family. Be like, this is my fake family who's on the show with me, who's gonna make me look really good.
It down to the, because I have a couple more pieces of evidence, down to the script where his agnostic friend goes, yeah, like I remember one time I was like, he told me he had to go to church next day, and I was like, oh shoot, I forgot you were religious. And then he had to tell me, no, I prefer faith over religion. And it's exactly what he said in the pods. She's like, then we proceeded to have like a 45-minute conversation about it. How
Ben is mouthing the words. Ben is mouthing the words as she says it. Yeah, not religion, faith.
He comes home and he's like, oh, she forgot the part about how I held the door open for her too.
Exactly. Then one of the guy friends was like,
she said he was her DD. What she meant was he was my Uber driver.
On the way home from the pods, he said, perfect. I need you. You busy next week? So literally one of the guy friends was like, oh yeah, I've always loved Ben's communication style, and y'all's communication style just is great together. That guy gets on TikTok and posts evidence that him and Ben are friends, which are all group pictures. Like none of it's not.
Yeah, but do guys take solo pictures together?
I don't know.
Oh, me and my best friend
they need to start
hanging out.
Because I was like, all this shows is that y'all are in the same vicinity.
Wow.
It was blowing my mind because they did not, from what we've learned about Ben thus far, this was not the group of friends that I would peg to be with Ben. So
right.
It was like,
that's why I was surprised. I was like, oh, look at this.
Are we either learning so much about him by his group of friends, or did he curate this friend group to be perfect for meeting Sarah?
You know what?
Could you blame him,
it could be both.
But could you blame him for curating his friend group to meet Sarah? Because he knows Sarah has reservations about this. He wants to show Sarah the best friend group for her.
Yes, I can blame him for that. He should be meeting the people that are most important to him, his best friends, the people that are going to be his groomsmen.
But he wants to put his best foot forward. So I can't fault him for that. If he barely knows these people and then he was like, hey, I know you haven't heard from me in 2 years, but can you come meet my fiance? That would be one thing. But it really depends.
Hey, I saw you posted with a girl one time. Is that your girlfriend? She's like, yeah. Okay, perfect. Do you want to come meet up with me and
you want to be on TV? You want to be on TV for afternoon? Come. You want to be on Love is Blind? You ever heard of that show? You can be on that show. Come on down.
It was just giving the first time these five have hung out in the same place ever.
It was like they had a meeting the day before. Like, okay. So, Amanda, this is where we're going to come in and talk about how agnostic you are, and a great conversation we had about you being agnostic.
Faith over religion. You have to say it. He's like,
that is a must.
The other girl, I don't care how inconvenient it is, bring up that you have a girlfriend.
Lesbian, I forgot your name. You have to make sure you're hitting it hard that you have a girlfriend.
Because she was like, oh, and then they even made a thing. She's like, oh, just a little gay drop or whatever. It was like, she's like, I hit my line, hit my cue.
Non-Caucasian friend, your communication.
Oh my gosh. I need to this is the thing. I don't listen to enough crime podcasts. I got to be doing the research like Aysha is and be putting the pieces together. Because really, I was just my thought was, oh wow, they really edited Ben in the pods completely differently than he really is.
You're consider me impressed. I was just I was
why did we spend all that time acting like he wasn't gonna be okay with this? His friends are super chill.
I don't know why I didn't buy it for 1 second.
The thing I did find about the one girl who was like, yeah, he drove me home. He wasn't drinking. He drove me home and then we talked, for 45 minutes, is it did remind me of the kind of people who are like, okay, I'm not dating this guy, but like I want to be involved in this story. So I'm gonna be like, yeah. And then he drove me home and then we talked for so long. But it wasn't anything. He didn't even like me. He didn't even want to like me.
It was totally like, I'm like a sister to him.
Yeah.
And I mean, all this still does not take away from the fact that in the first drop, where he said so many just like ridiculous things like, oh, I don't get involved.
I don't think about it.
This and that. Yeah, that still doesn't really absolve him from that stuff. Yes, he can have LGBTQ friends. He can have non-Caucasian friends. He can have agnostic friends. It doesn't matter.
How is that your friend circle? And that's how you feel about social issues it has nothing to do with me. So I don't think.
I forgot this. That was Ben. Oh man. Never mind. He's back down. He's back down on my list. I thought that was someone who didn't make it. So.
No,
like I can't. Like it's hard to make those two things be true.
Mary, don't you remember? He didn't even vote. He doesn't even care.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. I thought that was him.
He's like,
no, I thought that was a different white guy with a blazer. I'm sorry.
He's like, by the way, Sarah, all those friends you met today, I don't give a crap about any of their issues.
Right, exactly. He's like, that has nothing to do with me. So,
oh man. Okay, well, scratch this.
That's just where I stood with this little friend meeting.
Yeah. All right,
but that wasn't even their most.
Yeah,
that wasn't even their most interesting scene. So their last scene with her finding this TikTok of this woman claiming someone on this new season. It actually was posted on March 1st, 2024. As we know, they were in the pods on Valentine's Day of 2024. So this is like right in the middle. They get their phones back. They already find out that this woman has posted this TikTok and she tells Ben about it. And he's like, oh yeah, that's about me.
Aysha, is it worth you playing the TikTok for our audience, for those that haven't heard it?
It could be worth
to get
it.
some more context.
Let me just make sure. Let me check how long it is first.
Okay. It's because when this was brought, do you guys think this was a reenacted scene? Because we know they do that. We know I think we heard last time that Tyler and Ashley had the sperm donor baby daddy talk before, but they reenacted it last season. Do we think this is similar to that? Because it seemed very weird of how she all of a sudden, oh my gosh, did you see this TikTok on TikTok? Do you think it could have been reenacted at all?
So I feel like the flow was a little weird. They're like having a completely pleasant conversation. He gets up to refill her glass, and then she goes, ooh, or something. She makes some sort of noise, and she like groans a couple times, and he's like, what? And then she comes and he sits down, and then she says, have you seen this TikTok? As if she just watched it while he was getting up to refill her glass.
I'm like, where
he can hear it. So
where's your AirPods?
I would say at the very least, there was a chunk cut out. There was like some time that we missed between those two things. But I could believe that it potentially was reenacted. Otherwise, he is the only person I think we've ever seen on the show who was just like, oh, yep, that's me. Yeah, I already saw that. Yes.
Yeah, I can even see the fact that this TikTok has been distributed everywhere. Everyone's seeing this. Production is seeing this. And production is like, Ben, is this you? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, okay, we got to talk about this on camera. So you guys need to pretend like you're just seeing this.
Because he saw it, because he said he saw it when they were meeting their friends. Like he found out about it then. And he said his explanation is it was just a situation 4 years ago where he just ghosted a girl.
And do you think it's weird that he did not bring this to her attention? He wanted to wait and see if she found it. Like
I do think that's weird rather than just voluntarily telling her.
Do we even know that that's what happened though? Like if what Jason's saying that it could be recreated, maybe he did find it, show it. Maybe they found it at the same time, talked about it, and then it just wasn't on camera.
True, but the way it was presented to us is the way I have to take it as gospel.
Let's play it. It's 1 minute. It's 1.5 minutes.
Okay,
so not long. Maybe I should have screen recorded it and put it so we can put it on the screen, but we're gonna go a different route.
Just leaked to me some of the photos of the cast of the new season of Love is Blind that they're filming here in Minneapolis. And like I knew when I heard that they were filming here, in my stomach that I would recognize some of the names on that list. And I would have some information on those boys. Because you know what?
From what we've heard,
Minneapolis
everyone knows each other.
is a big city, small town sort of vibe where everyone knows each other. And the dating pool here is very, very small. So if you've messed up, someone's going to know about it. And I'm not sure how much I can say about it, but I am going to say that I'm just exhausted and tired of society rewarding shitty men who treat women terribly and manipulate and lie all the time. They are horrible people, and they will do anything to get what they want and to get attention. And I get that that is like the whole point of reality television, and that's the reason that they're on that show, right? To make good entertainment. But maybe
Not
we
according
can
to
just
Jason.
not reward people who are like that, who have harmed people in their past. And I know this is a vast overreaction, and unfortunately, probably for legal reasons, I shouldn't say exactly who it is. But I will not be watching the Minneapolis season because that shit just makes me sick to my stomach to see someone who's willing to like lie to people about wanting to get married just to be on television and get exposure and be a heartthrob. I don't know. I'll probably take this down by tomorrow. This feels stupid coming forward like this. Like, this is what reality television is supposed to be, right? Horrible people.
And I just want to point out, that was March 1st, 2024. She did not take it down because it is still up at this very moment.
And why,
a year later.
Why does she think she is bound by anything legal to not say who or what she is talking about?
She's like, the NDA that I didn't sign.
Right. Interesting. So that was extremely vague.
So vague.
I want to have everyone's opinion and voice heard. Everyone's voice matters. Let's make that clear. But I think I need more context to be able to really kind of understand what's happening.
I think when it comes to relationships and emotional things, everyone has a completely different view on what happens, and people feel very strongly about those things. I've gone on first dates where I don't know the person, go on a first date, and I came home and it was a really horrible time. And I was like, wow, that person completely does not seem like I want to, date them. And I really don't know them. And I'm basing that off of one interaction. So you could have, and then if you saw that person on TV years later and you're like, wow, they treated me really badly on that first date. That one time we went out, I can't believe they're now on a show where they're saying all these things and they're falling in love or whatever. I also was in a relationship with someone for 7 years that was a somewhat tumultuous, very manipulative, emotionally abusive relationship. It was not great. That being said, I didn't end that relationship and think they should never find love with anyone ever again. I would definitely feel like I hope they treat the other people better. But at some point I have to be like, yeah, we were young. Hopefully they grew out of it, and hopefully they treat people better, and hopefully no one else has the experience I did. Obviously, there's a huge realm when it comes to things like physical abuse. That's even something else that you want to make sure. And if you saw someone who was your abuser, I mean, that to be clear off of what I just said, if I saw my ex on a TV show that was about, I wouldn't watch it either. I wouldn't. Protect yourself, and hopefully everyone around you would understand why you need to do that, and hopefully the people you are friends with would not then be like become a fan of them, for being different. Like, that's kind of crappy too. So there's all sorts of things where I do think like we don't know this person, we don't know what happened, we don't know Ben either. So it could have been really bad, it could have been nothing, and we just don't know, and no one's ever really gonna know unless there's more things that come out.
Yeah, and I don't want to put all my eggs in the Ben basket and say like Ben probably
no.
did nothing
We
wrong.
already know that he bought Friends.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, because like you said, Mary, we don't know Ben. We don't know any of these people in real life. We know what we're being given on an edited TV show. So I don't want to say I know for a fact Ben did nothing wrong, because I don't know that. We have so much more information that comes out after these drops happen where we think these guys are great, and then we hear something about them that we go, oh, they're definitely not great. So I don't want to put my eggs in any basket to say that, but I'm just saying, like, because Ben is going to say to Sarah, like, hey, I just ghosted this girl and she's upset. If that is true, many different people think of ghosting in many different ways. This girl could be really upset that she got ghosted by him, and that's what she's talking about. It could also be a abusive, either emotionally or whatever, situation that is way worse than what we're thinking, but we have no idea because she was very vague in that video.
Right. I think that it's just interesting that they have wildly different accounts of this. Like, her reaction, if his version of it is the truth, her reaction is wildly an overreaction. As she states, she said, I know this is an overreaction, but to be like claiming that this is a horrible person when it was 4 years ago that if he ghosted her, there's obviously a lot more to the story that we don't know. He's probably downplaying it. She's probably overplaying it. So there's somewhere in the middle. And the fact that he's like, well, maybe we DM'd after that. I don't know. I was like,
more keeps coming out. More keeps he's like, well, I went on one date with her and I ghosted her. He's like, okay, I went on one date and then I saw her out in the bar a couple times. And he's like, okay, well, we went out one time, went to bars, and we kind of DM'd, but she didn't. She initiated, not me. So
she's also my friend's cousin and went to prom with him.
I also asked her to marry me, but that's not a big thing.
And I just think like when it comes to these kind of things, though, you can have such a different view on how things went down. Like he could literally have experienced something and she could have experienced something could have been completely different. I also don't remember how old he is.
He's 27 currently, so he was 23 when.
So he's 23. So I think that there's also sometimes, and this is obviously not a blanket statement, everything is different, but there are some times when people nowadays, we say these words so much like, oh, they're toxic or they're abusive or they're manipulative, when sometimes that is 100% true. And sometimes they were just a crappy boyfriend or a crappy date that you went on, or they ghosted you and they didn't treat you well. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're like, that they weren't 23, not interested in you, and then have changed and grown up. So that could happen, but also 27, also pretty young. You just don't know. You don't know how, what happened. I mean, how many times have you known someone who at one point in their life, you're like, wow, glad that person didn't end up with so-and-so, but then they go on to marry someone else and they're completely happy. And you're like, oh, look, they're a great couple. It happens.
And I love how Sarah handled it. She said, I don't want to discount this woman's voice.
Sure.
She says, and I know people evolve and change, meaning that you were 23 when this happened, you could evolve and change into a better person. She says, but if I hear more about this that you're not telling me and I don't know, then that's going to be a problem. Right. So I really loved how she handled it.
I did too. I liked how she put her foot down because this gave me shades of like Ashley and Tyler. Like,
yes,
I'm trusting you to tell me the honest information. If I don't get the accurate account, then I'm out. Whereas like Ashley handled it different, right? Mm-hmm. But that was her name, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we do know now that they are no longer together.
Oh, we do? Sorry, I don't keep up with people.
Oh, yes.
Wow, shocking news.
Once all the chatter died down, right? Like, is it?
It's not really shocking, but I'm surprised given the last time I saw them.
Yes. All the chatter died down. Then it was announced that they had decided to get a divorce. But I think Sarah means it because they've been on cloud nine since the getaway or since even the proposal. So I think it's kind of like making things a little bit more real for her that like, wait, I actually don't know this guy. Like maybe let me like continue. Like I know what he has presented to me. So let me just make sure that is the Ben who was the Ben in front of me.
Well, the investigation continues.
Yeah. To contrast that with what we're going to see in a little bit with the last couple, I think it's good to say, look, I'm going to take you for your word now. And I'm going to ask you to be 100% honest with me. And if I find out later that you weren't honest with me, we're going to have a problem. So right now is your time to tell me everything. And I think that's good. What would not be good would just be to be like, well, I'm just going to hold you at bay for a really long time and consider things and not really know what's happening. And then, okay, can we talk about Lauren and David now, please?
Well, do you think Sarah should do any further like investigation herself? Do you think Sarah should like contact this person?
I think what's hard is that person didn't really say anything in the video.
Yeah, that's true. But
you could reach out. I think that the problem also for her is she might be trying to say, do I reach out to this complete stranger who may or may not be telling the truth and may or not say that, or do I take Ben at his word here? Yeah. I think that the main thing you don't want is if you leave it in Ben's hands and you say, tell me everything, and then they reach out and send screenshots or evidence or something, that's where you have a problem. So I don't know. It's really hard to seek out information that you know is going to upset you.
Yeah.
Like, I think I could totally believe why she'd want to do that because, protect yourself. I mean, that's kind of the whole thing we saw with Taylor. But it is a hard thing to say, like, I've got this good thing. Do I want to find out something bad or do I want to live in ignorance? I don't know.
And the interesting thing is we have the same type of issue in the Dave and Lauren thing where it's like, how much do I trust my partner against a third party? So
yeah, and his is actually even more difficult because, well, it's not a complete stranger online telling you this. These are his friends, talking about a friend of a friend. So anyway, Sarah and Ben, where do y'all think?
Yeah, I'm going to say, were they the only ones we didn't see at the altar? Actually,
I don't remember.
There was one couple we didn't see, and I couldn't remember which one.
I don't think I remember seeing them at the altar, so I'm going to say it's them. But I don't know if I also saw. Did we see Dave and Lauren at the altar?
We heard them talking. She was saying it's my wedding day.
Oh yeah, she hadn't texted. He hadn't texted her or something.
So I'm going to say no for Ben and Sarah.
Okay, I was thinking no too. I don't really have a strong reason not to, because she could easily brush past this and be like, I know Ben, I've gotten to know Ben, and I'm trusting what he's saying, and then it's a non-issue.
I'm also kind of playing the odds because I just don't think it's going to be 4 out of 5. Right. When I think about Dave and Lauren.
Yeah, I'm also playing the odds. I don't think they're going to make it, only because I feel like there's a scene from the previously on that we haven't got yet, which is going to be with their families, and I feel like there's going to be more. I think the religion thing is going to come back up, and I think that is going to be an issue.
Oh yeah, like her family is going to say something, like when they
something
go to
about
like
family. Oh, you go to church. Yeah, she would never do that. Like I think that I don't think that that's necessarily going to be that alone will be the reason it doesn't work, but I could see it starting to be one of these things where she's like, I don't know actually how compatible we are.
With his friends, she did say she was open to exploring his realm of faith. So
we did get on the coming up on her sister said, I'm assuming it's her sister because she didn't look like she could be like old enough to be her mom. She said she doesn't see the point in rushing into marriage, and it seemed like it was just her, which everyone has that opinion.
Yeah,
I know. Okay, let's move on to the last couple, which is Dave and Lauren.
Oh, buddy. All the mess, the messiest mess was in this segment right here. And I feel like even for the amount that this is the biggest mess of the season, I feel like in other seasons it probably would have been like the smallest mess.
Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting. So they start about talking about it at the retreat, and then it kind of just continues throughout the rest of the drop. Before we really get into that, the other highlight I have from the retreat is, we kind of mentioned it a couple times. Yeah, he was going around. He was very interested in, has anyone had sex? This was the least.
Can we just say how weird that is?
Extremely.
Like, why are you talking to the women about this?
I think the thing is very clearly he's wondering whether or not it is weird that they are not having sex, or if they're the only ones.
I think Dave is a big enough creep that he was going to try and use that to get her to have sex with him. Like, see, everyone else is having sex around us. Like, why can't, like, what's the problem with us not having sex?
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I also don't know why he felt the need to tell everyone that his fiancé gets up and pees a lot.
Yeah, that was so irrelevant. I was like, first of all, he has no filter in what is like, or no barometer on like what's appropriate to say or not to say, because like the fact that he is asking these other fiancés, and not like these women that he's developed great friendships with, they're his best friends. Like, in this context, these are your friends' fiancés, and he's like, not it just weirded me out that he was asking them rather than just like, okay, you have to ask that question, just ask the guys.
It was very creepy because we get this segment all the time in these seasons where the boys ask the boys, so like, where have you gone? The girls ask the girls, like, so has it developed yet? But then for this cross of the guy asking the woman, it's just like, oh, this seems like really creepy. Why would you do this? Like Aysha said, ask the man in the situation if you really need to know.
With asking Devin, and then he just started asking all the women. So
right?
Yeah.
Like, I need the real answers. I don't know what that was.
So the besides that weirdness, there was the big thing is that he finds out at the retreat that she had been, I don't know, I don't even know if I can use the word dating, hanging out, talking, hooking up, whatever. She had a thing with a guy relatively recently. She said that it was basically she's like, it was super casual, whatever. And he
2
seems
month
to be
time frame. That's it.
Yeah, she said it was 2 months and that they hooked up several times and that it was basically just 100% just sort of a friends with benefits kind of thing or something like that. He said that he had held it against Molly that she had an on and off thing with someone 6 months ago and he thought that Lauren didn't. To me, this was giving a lot of like, I wanted my fiance to be pure and not have been with anyone anytime recently or something.
It gets into a really slut shaming realm down the line, even further down into the drop. It gets in a real bad place.
And I don't know how the casting of Love is Blind works. So I don't know if it's like you're 100% on the show or could you be an alternate or is it like is there any realm of maybe you're going on, maybe you're not? I don't know how that works. But like if I was in a casting process and it's going to take weeks or months to figure that out, I'm not necessarily going to put my dating life on hold when something could work out with that at home first.
So Asia and I talk about this quite a bit over on the Married at First Sight podcast, because in that situation, at a certain point, you know you are getting married. There's no, I'm going to a place to maybe get married. You are getting married. So they usually get a 2-week runway to know they're actually getting married. And the casting process can take a couple months to even know if you're being considered to get married. So we have had situations on that show where someone has just come off a relationship going into the 2 weeks before the marriage. We always think that's a little weird. Like if you're in the casting process, you're down to a group of 10 and you might be one of the 5 picked. Maybe you shouldn't be getting into new relationships right now because you know whether or not you're picked.
It's different on Married at First Sight because they get home visits with the experts while they're still like picking. Like, you know, you're in the running at a certain point.
Yeah, you know, you're like the finals. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas this is like you are entering a dating period. Like, you don't know if you for sure are going to find a connection in the pods. You don't know if you're going to get engaged.
Tons of people here said they didn't think they would find a connection. So they're like, they're kind of here for shits and giggles. Whereas to be like, you know, I am in a group of 16 men or women that may be vying for 16 other men or women. I could come out here with nothing. So I don't think there's a reason to totally cut off any connections you had on the outside or any prospective connections you had on the outside. Yes, if they are serious enough, you should be honest with them and say, I am in this process of possibly going on Love is Blind. But from Lauren's perspective, she did not find this guy to be even boyfriend material. She was not looking to have anything serious with him. He was when we get to the point where she has to spell out like, okay, this is a friends with benefit situation. Like, this is not as serious. Like, she should not have to go that far down the line.
They didn't hang out with my friends. We weren't dating. We weren't going on dates, whatever. He was openly seeing other people or you know,
he was telling her about his dates
like,
he was having.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, and I guess that the scenario I was thinking of was even a little different, which was more like, you know, do you need to delete the dating apps or whatever? Because everyone's different. If my thought is, hey, I'm really looking for my person here, I can't be wasting any time. And therefore, if I may or may not be going on this show in several months, don't go on the show. If you find someone that you like, I could understand being like, hey, actually show, I need to back out because it turns out I've met someone, you know. I think that's fine. I think it is odd. And I don't know if we've seen this with Love is Blind, but I think it is odd when you're dating someone, you break up with them to go on a show. It happens a lot on The Bachelor too. And it's like very clear you just broke up because you wanted to go on a TV show. Well, you're not actually ready.
Trevor had that a couple seasons ago.
Yeah.
That was a big one there. There are probably a couple others that have happened that we are forgetting about right now.
But even Trevor's situation was like, oh, I know you're going. I'll let you know when I get back. It was like still an ongoing situation. This was casual at best. And the way he shamed her for it was ridiculous.
And the way that he's just... Oh, go ahead, Mary.
Well, I was just going to say... It's not even, it's the shaming her and it's the constant, it feels like every scene with him was the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
I'm hearing from my friends who sort of know him that this other guy is saying it was more than that. And I'm choosing to believe that over you, even though you and all your friends are saying it was something different. And we also have pretty much evidence by that text that he had sent, the guy in question had sent to one of her friends of like, oh, should we break up this marriage?
Yeah.
That it seems like this is all just sort of a game to him.
Yeah, it seems like this guy is a troll that may or may not even be lying to Dave's friends to get Dave's friends to talk to Dave. So basically, what it boils down to is you are taking this guy's word that you have met to his admission twice over your partner's word that you are getting married to.
That you're having all these conversations with your family and your friends without her. She's not privy to them. She doesn't get to be a part of it. She's just being whether it's badmouthed or at the very least questioned in all of these conversations that she's not even getting to defend herself in.
And he refuses to allow her to defend herself.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I have these two friends on standby. I'll decide if they should come up and talk or not. I don't know. And it's just like, at what point do you realize you're in a relationship and she should be prioritized? Like, you should value her, like what she's saying. And the fact that he keeps, like, she's saying stuff and he's like, well, I still have to figure out if I believe that or not.
I just don't know if I believe it or not. At that point, I would tell him to take his sister, his friends, this little other guy, shove them all up your ass and be gone. Like, I'm out of here.
And I understand where it's like, look, I don't want to push you, if you need to make a decision. I've seen Gilmore Girls. I know what happens when you push someone who's not ready. But I feel like at this scenario, you're like, look, we have a limited amount of time to get to know each other, to decide to get married. So we have two options. Number one, you can decide that you don't have enough time to figure all this out and decide who you're going to believe, and we're just going to break things off. Option two, you're going to introduce me to your friends, and I'm going to be able to hash this out and come up to it to a conclusion. Talk to your sister, come to a conclusion, and then you need to decide which way you're going. And that's it. The end.
Are you going to be a big boy adult, or are you going to let your sister do all your decisions for you?
Also, where is he going? Is he not staying there? She's like, I haven't seen you a lot of this week.
He's going out with the friends. He's
just going somewhere and just getting more and more and more in his head about this situation instead of actually getting to the bottom of it.
And the way worst. Oh, go ahead, Aysha.
Okay. I was just going to say, the worst part was just the amount of tears that she was shedding over the situation, because she is justifiably so frustrated that this continues to be a conversation because he is not progressing. He's saying it's been an issue for the past week, but he's in the same place he was at the beginning of the week, and how he felt and how he feels about this. And every time she's crying, he has this like deadpan look on his face, like, oh, okay, well, I hate to see you cry. I wish you weren't, but I just don't know what to believe. How am I supposed to know it wasn't the 48 hours before you left? Why? Just say that you're looking for any reason for her to break up with you, because that's what it is. Like,
that's what he did with Molly in the pods. He was trying to get her to break it off with him before he didn't have to.
Because at some point, you have to decide who you're going to believe. If there is no evidence, it doesn't sound, because you've had a week, it doesn't sound like this guy is like pulling up pictures of the two of them together, holding up a newspaper saying, look, it was 48 hours before.
And they live in the same building as this guy now. I'm surprised he hasn't come knocked on their door. And
it's like,
weird like that.
If you don't actually, it seems like it's all just hearsay, and there's no text, there's no nothing. If that's the case, then at some point you just have to decide, are you going to believe her or not?
What evidence do your friends have? Are they claiming they were in the room with us as we were having sex? Like what is going on?
My friends are just looking out for me. They're just telling me the facts. She's like, they're not facts. If I'm telling you that's not true.
The facts are wrong.
How do I know?
Friends though, why would they lie to me? Like, bro, are you serious? And it's like, it's crazy how much he's not listening, because he's telling her like, I'm just not okay with the fact that I'm laying in bed with you and you were also doing that with him. She's like, I never did that. We never went to bed together. We never spent the night at each other's houses. That never happened. What you just said never happened. He's like, oh, well, I don't know if you're telling the truth or not.
I don't know.
At that point, Lauren, you need to turn around and leave. Like that. That's it. That's it.
I mean, it's because his friends are like, look, we're older. We were supposed to get married first. And we don't want you to be happy.
He says something about like, I don't want this to get into a high school situation. Too late. It already is.
That way. He's making it that way. Her friends were like, no, that's not what happened.
Like, yeah, you're already there.
This man is looking for attention, because here, once again, shout out to Storytime with Ricky. If you want Storytime with Ricky, she has her own podcast. She posts a lot of things she finds out about Love is Blind. She does a lot of research. So I find out I am heavy on the Storytime with Ricky TikTok. And she found the guy. His name is Dan. And he posted stuff like this. He posted himself putting on headphones as if he was about to give a podcast.
Oh gosh.
So this was like after it came out. He also posted himself with the Love is Blind, like as if it was a cast photo. I'm trying to get a bigger picture of it, but
and that's exactly what he wants. He wants that attention.
He posted this as if he's a Love is Blind castmate.
I'm sure he applied. He begged them to let him on, and they did not let him on the cast. So he is finding any way.
Not.
He is finding any way to make himself part of the story and part of the narrative. And
yet,
Dave should be able to see through that. But he
that's what makes me know he doesn't want to. He is using this as either he got his phone back, saw Molly, and was like, shoot, should have gone for Molly. Or he just is seeing in Lauren that he doesn't want to be with her, but doesn't want to look like the bad guy. So he's trying to give Lauren a reason to end things with him. And it's so frustrating because she's trying so hard. She's like, how can we resolve this so we can actually focus on if we should be getting married or not? And he doesn't want to move past this. So she feels stuck, but that's not the real reason. This whole thing is not the real reason because she even said it. Why are we making this such a big deal when it's so insignificant? And it's just like he wants to end things, but is too immature. The fact that he is 32, and I realize we are the exact same age, that was kind of mind-blowing. But the fact that he is just looking for any reason to end things, which is like anytime it doesn't make sense, there's a reason. Like reason makes sense, like logic makes sense. Like if it doesn't make sense, there's a reason it doesn't make sense. And I think he just doesn't want to be with her.
And why was he trying to blame the size of the bike at the cycle class for why he wasn't good at it? Maybe you just don't have cardio, my man.
He was trying to save face. He thinks he is God's gift to women. He thinks he is the most attractive thing out there. And it seems obvious in the way he carries himself that he's just like,
he admitted to having cheated before. Why is he all hung up on this situation?
All of a sudden, he's the paragon of virtue in this situation.
He's like, yeah, I may have flirted with people before the experiment, but that's not the same.
I'm a flirty guy. That's not the same.
How do I know?
I go to bars. Women just cannot resist me. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? But it almost felt like he was saying that. He didn't say that directly, but that's the vibe he was giving.
I loved her friends. They were like the one friend was trying to speak logic into him, just trying to ask him questions like, make this make sense what you're hung up on. Mm-hmm. And it was falling on deaf ears because he just did not want to see it. And it's just like so annoying because Lauren deserves better, but she is just like trying to commit to this because they are engaged.
Yeah. Run, girl, run.
Please.
And it's like, it's wild how he just looked in her face, her friend's face. It's like, yeah, I don't believe you. Like you might be lying. So
yeah, I just, it's still a lot to think about.
My friends who spoke with this guy, that I barely know, I'm gonna take their word over people that were actually literally there and met the guy and like know the situation. So
I gotta figure it out.
I'm gonna take my friend's third-hand knowledge over your first-hand knowledge. Sorry.
Because why wouldn't he let her speak? His friends are on standby, quote unquote. Why not just let them come up and have this conversation? Because it's going to be
too much to think about and handle.
He's not ready for it yet. They don't want to get into a negative space. They all seem like drama queens, just like he is. Like they would come in and do nothing but what he's doing right now. So I am almost glad that Lauren was spared that.
I think he's trying to keep it from being resolved. He's trying to stop. Yeah. Like if they were able to compare notes, the truth will come out that this was exactly what she's saying. They were friends with benefits. There was nothing to commit to. He should have had no issue with her going on the show because they were not committed to each other. And he's just like, oh, but how am I supposed to sleep with you every night knowing you were sleeping with someone else up until the day you left? I'm just ready for him to be like, you were engaged to someone before you left. He's just making up stuff at this point.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's crazy. He is the worst. He's terrible. He is the villain of the season, I think.
He's exactly who we thought he would be when he was in the pods.
Yes, totally. It down to the fact that he's like, when they're on the getaway, he's like, nothing about you makes me want to, run away, except that hair. Come on, bro. Like
he's not funny. He thinks he's hilarious.
It's like this guy. You remember the what was the thing called? The pickup artist back in the day,
yes.
where he would neg people. That's what this guy's philosophy is. He has learned at the feet of the pickup artist, and feels like what his tactics are. And it's so gross.
And just the part when she said, "I've never had to defend my character like this." I'm like, yes.
That to tell you something. Leave. Go. Leave this man.
The absolute worst. And it's just like he knows not having any emotion about this on his face in any way is only breaking her heart more, because it's just like she's so broken, and he's like doesn't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the words are coming out of his mouth. It's just like the blank face is just doing more damage. And so I just really hope that we go into this next drop and she has realized this ain't it.
Doesn't look like it. It looks like they're gonna make it a while, but no, this is not gonna be a yes. I hope for her own sake that she doesn't say yes and he says no. Like, I hope that it's a no before then. Like, I hope she says no. Hope they don't even get there. I don't know.
Yeah, and in the preview they do have some happy moments. It looks like he meets with Molly, and Molly's like, "When's the last time you did she actually ask?"
Yeah. She said, "When's the last time you've had sex?"
It would be so hilarious and also so terrible if he was just like, "Oh, like 2 months ago." Like he's the one, casting aspersions, and meanwhile he's almost,
well, maybe he's just jealous that she's been getting it and he hasn't.
Maybe, I don't know. He's terrible. He is the villain of the season, and I'm glad we finally found him. For the first drop, we were like, he's bad, but is he the villain of the season?
No. The first drop, the very first words he says, what did you do wrong, or why are you here? What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
and then making jokes about being 30 and not being attractive, and then saying that he has had issues with integrity, and also it's not relevant, but he's cheated on someone. All of that. Red flag, red flag, red flag.
Yes, he was definitely bad, but this clinches it. He is the villain of the season.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah. So we obviously all agree that we don't think they'll get married.
That is correct.
Will they get to the altar?
I don't know, because in the preview she was like, it's our wedding day, and I texted him and his phone went green and he wasn't staying at the apartment last night, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So
I think they get there. I hope she gets to go first and says no. That would be the best situation.
Oh, please, yes. The only other thing from this drop that I wanted to point out was in the group hangout at the getaway. Devin was like, "I can tell that Sarah is yours, and so is yours, and Lauren is yours." It was like, ugh.
Yes, because women are property. Didn't you know?
But
Devin,
I have to say, this is the first time in my memory that the the thing where they all got together when they all meet each other.
Yeah,
I think it's the first time that in a while that we have not had any of the people there be people that other people there were also dating.
Yes.
There's no love triangle group here.
I think in the AD, Clay, Jimmy, Chelsea season, I don't think they had a triangle.
Yeah, that one might. But there was no, like, it didn't seem like any single person was like, "Oh, I'm actually into them," or had any weird conversations.
Like, they're more attractive.
Yeah, there wasn't any of that.
Listen, that gave the whole drop of no drama. Like, there was no drama at the getaway. we had like an episode and a half of the getaway, when I feel like we usually get like 2.5 episodes of the getaway. So
yeah, they definitely expedited that. But
yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
all right. Well,
you know what? I'm still having fun though. I have to end on a happy note, which is that I appreciated that there were 3 episodes this drop. I was, you know what? I've got at least a couple people I'm rooting for.
I'm
still rooting for Monica and Joey. I'm still rooting for it.
I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for Daniel and Taylor.
Board.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Daniel and Taylor, and I'm rooting for Monica and Joey. Just not as hard as I usually would. I'm just not feeling it.
I'm rooting for if we can see why Virginia and Devin like each other, I would be rooting for them as well.
Yeah, I just haven't seen much yet.
Right. Haven't seen much yet heading into episode 10.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for sticking with us. Make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed, where you can get all of our podcasts for Love is Blind, Married at First Sight, all of these dating shows. And if you are interested in having more conversations about this, and you want to come join our Facebook group it's primarily for Married at First Sight, but if you want to come chat about Love is Blind, we're doing that in there as well. It's a perfect match podcast. Jason, I'll put you on the spot. What's the password this week?
It's got to be Fam Jam.
Fam Jam. Okay, perfect. So put in Fam Jam, agree to the group rules. You can come in and chat about Love is Blind with other people who are watching this season. Yeah, we'll be back next week to talk about episodes 10 through 12, I believe. And then there's one more for 13 or
10 and
just 10
11.
and 11.
10 and
Okay,
11
10, 11, then there's 12, and then, okay.
reunion. Yeah.
We'll just talk about the episodes that come out next week.
There you go.
All right. Jason, where can people keep up with you? Where can they find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at JR33D. In terms of podcasting, you can find me on my podcast, The Good Pod with Marissa Garza, where we talk about the show The Good Wife from back in the day and the Good Wife related properties like Elsbeth that is currently airing right now. You can also find me and Asia on the Married at First Sight podcast. That's on this very same feed that you may have found this on, at the Love at First Sight feed, where we talk about the show Married at First Sight. We have a lot of fun in there. This season of Married at First Sight is giving all the mess and nonsense that this season of Love is Blind is not. So if you need something to watch, I always say, if you love Love is Blind, you'll love Married at First Sight. So come on over. It's a great season. We love talking about it. That's that. Yeah, that's it for me.
What about you, Mary?
You can follow me everywhere at Frail Mary. And if you want to hear me talking about a more messy dating / marriage show, I covered the first episode of season 11 of 90 Day Fiancé with Puya Zambakili. And it was my first time watching 90 Day Fiancé. Had a lot of thoughts. It was very fun. And then for something completely different, myself and Chappelle are covering the new Fox show, survivalist show, Extracted. So you can also check that out.
Awesome. And y'all can follow me on all social media at Asia Like Asia. That's AYSHA, like ASIA. Yes, you can find me every week on A Perfect Match, talking about Married at First Sight. Also, Jason and I got the opportunity to interview a couple from a brand new show from the creators of Love is Blind and Married at First Sight called Sweethearts. One thing this creator knows how to do is end a show in a decision. So it's following some couples that are seniors in high school. And at the end of the 10 episodes, they decide if they want to continue dating into college or break up. So we got to interview one of the couples, spoiler free, in case you want to watch that interview and then decide if you want to watch the show. Sweethearts is on Amazon Prime. So we had a great conversation with them. They're now 2 years removed from the show. So it's very interesting just to get their perspective. So you can find that on the Love at First Sight feed as well. Also on the RHAP YouTube channel. But yeah, we'll be back next week. And so we'll see y'all then. Bye.